Okay, so this is my Trek Cobia mountain bike, which I've had for many years, and I've done many upgrades to it, in which I had put on my new drivetrain of a newer cassette and put on the blue derailleur extender so that it can run with this 9-speed 1142 cassette. And I also have different pedals and my chainring on here. But today what we're going to do is we are going to replace the brake pads just for the front wheel. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to take the front wheel off. Okay, so our front wheel is off. So just with a usual quick release skewer in which you open up the lever and the front wheel is off. And here is the disc brakes. So these ones use Shimano disc brake pads because this is a Shimano hydraulic disc brake, and we're going to be using this B01S, and it also comes with some spare cotter pins. So first thing we are going to do is in order to remove these old pads, we need to first get a pliers and straighten the cotter pins and remove it. And then following that, we're able to directly remove the two brake pads. As you can see here, the camera is focusing. These pads have a significant amount of wear, and I will compare them to my brand new brake pads. Okay, so using these pliers, I opened up the cotter pin and slid out the old brake pads. So on my little plastic piece here, here's my old brake pads, here's the old cotter pin, and here's the old retaining clip. So what it does is, as you can see, there is excessive amounts of wear to this brake pad. There's not as much life left. I could still use this on a commuter mountain bike that I have with hydraulic disc brakes, so I'm still going to save these. But for my mountain bike that I ride really hard, which I'm talking about this one, which I actually take mountain biking, we want the best quality new brake pads, but I'm going to use these old ones on an older mountain bike. However, here's my brand new brake pads with very fresh pads, and it also gave me my clip, and it gave me 3 cotter pins, which is very surprising. So another step that I took is I wiped down my old brake pads because I used these alcohol wipes, and I wiped down these old brake pads so that they can have more friction when I recycle them and use them. I also used the alcohol wipes to wipe my front rotor and wipe my back rotor, because when you mountain bike, you are subject to a lot of dirt and mud. As you see, my bike is all muddy. So for both sides, for both of the brand new brake pads, install it with the clip like this and then insert in your cotter pin, and that is all you do. So as you see, with the cotter pin put in right here, and here's the new brake pads installed, but there's not a very big gap. So what we can do is we can get something extremely thin, push it in there, and then pry it open big enough so that our front disc brake rotor is able to slide in, and then we can make sure that when the wheel is spinning and we're not touching the brakes, that the pads are not rubbing against the rotor when we don't want it to be. We only want the pads rubbing against the rotor when we are actually pressing on our brake lever. So how I was able to get it to work was I was able to use this small knife and then break it open so that, break the space between the two pads open so that I can put the rotor in. And then now I'm going to flip the bike right side up, and I'm going to squeeze on the front brake a few times so that widens the distance between the pads and moves the mineral oil around a bit. I think it will be a bit easy. I haven't bled the brakes in a while, and I think I'll get to doing that in the future. So with the new pads installed, since I had the bike upside down and now I have it right side up, I waited around 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, it lets all the hydraulic mineral oil for this hydraulic disc brake. So as you see, it is mineral oil. So I let it all flow from the top lever and get most of it accumulated to the bottom. I haven't bled the brakes in a while, and now I'm getting a good lever pull again. And when I spin the wheel, the pads are not rubbing against the rotor when my finger isn't on the lever, so that is a good sign. Now you can go out and ride your bike, or at least I can.